I had a real I had a really special. Oh, now it tells me about the recording. So again, I'm Tony Warfield. Thank you all so much for being on. Thank you, Dr. Felicia, for being on, and all the other guests. We got a special guest tonight. I'm really excited about. I got a chance to meet her not too long ago, and she really impressed me. And she's actually a therapist, a mental health therapist, and it's somebody that I think you would really appreciate being able to offer some very important tips. And I had the presentation up here before, but I know she's actually, a native of South Central Los Angeles. She actually grew up under her grandmother. I did, so I definitely have an appreciation for how she was raised and some of the economic challenges that we've all faced over the time. For you to be raised with a grandmother who may have limited income, but she always instills all that beautiful information into your heart and makes you a stronger person. So this young lady has a phenomenal spirit, and I'm really excited about what she brings to the discussion this evening. And again, I met her a few months ago, but in that few months, she's really been on my mind. And I invited her to come take a look at this presentation before, and she says, she really liked it, but she also would be great as an addition to this presentation or to this discussion. So she agreed to come on and share some of her knowledge with us so we can have a better understanding of how your finances affect your mental health. So real quick, just one quick plug. This new outfit that I'm wearing right here is actually for Black Infant Health. I'm really excited about the organization. It's a nonprofit organization that particularly focuses on Black mortality, right? So, if you get a chance to take a look at that, I'll share that information with you after the presentation. But I definitely wanted to be able to have the opportunity to present this young lady to you. She's super sharp. Her website is thehappytherapists.org. So make sure you punch that into your computer, your tablet, your cell phone, or whatever device that you're using. And without further ado, I give you Mrs. Janisha Mickens Ingram, the Happy Therapist. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I am Janisha Mickens. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I have been in the mental health and community health realm for about 19 years. Yes, I know I look a little young, but I'm old enough. So the great thing is that I am a program director for a company that works with community mental health, but I also have a group private practice that deals with individuals such as yourself that are more stable, working, and have that dynamic put together. Sorry, my little fur baby's around with no sister or brother to play with. So I'm sorry if she walks a little bit. So what I do for a living is help individuals make their W-2 optional by utilizing strategies and systems in place through therapeutic approaches. So that is who I am. And so today I did prepare a PowerPoint. Let me know if you guys can see this, if everyone can see it. Thumbs up. Thank you, Ms. Tammy. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to do an interactive, and you guys can put it in the chat or you can unmute your mics. I like feedback. I'm not sure how Tony does it usually, if that's okay. But I like to talk back to my audience because my thing is if it don't apply, I need to let it fly, but I want things that may specifically address the individuals that's in the room. So a lot of times I have seen individuals come into therapy who have what I call a high achiever persona. That means they are the go-to for everything and they do everything for everybody. So one of the things I want you to look at, and you guys can just have like a tally sheet of paper and you don't have to write down the titles, but I want you to just tally how many of these entities that you fall under, okay? So as an individual, we have so many different entities in our lives that we have to be, assertive for, or we have to show up and hold space to have the capacity for. And sometimes we really don't have the capacity to do it anyway. So we need to learn how to not to do that. But before we can come to a conclusion, we need to understand what the problem is. As a human, we just automatically have, we have to parent, we are the go-to person. We're neglected of personal relationships, meaning that you may want to spend time with other people, but because you have all these other things in line, you don't have that benefit to go and do those things. Also, you may have some resentment and exhaustion. For instance, if you're married or if you're in a relationship or you're just a single mom or single dad, you may have resentment for not being able to do the things that the people around you do, not necessarily resent them, but you resent the feeling of not being able to do it. We also have role conflict. Sometimes you feel like you were in several hats, but now it's an expectation that other put on you that you have automatically adjusted to and taken on that role. Mental emotional struggles. Some of these things could include you trying to be a perfectionist. You're emotionally detached. Like, okay, things can matter to you. Like, for instance, I'm a therapist, so I see a lot of trauma. So sometimes my response to trauma is not like the response to other people. It's not that I'm insensitive, I'm just a less desensitized than other people, and I'm processing it a lot differently. So are you an individual who has emotionally detached from the people that you love around you? Do you feel like you have imposter syndrome? That you have to be doing everything right, or if it's not, it's you, you're the problem. Chronic stress and burnout. If you work a regular W-2 job and you're an entrepreneur and you're an auntie and you're an uncle and you're a mom, you're a grandpa, whatever it is that you're doing, you can have burnout because you're constantly going, 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 going. Reminds me of the Energizer Bunny, right? It just never stopped. But when you never stop, then you eventually burn out in some type of way. Or if you're a faith believer, God sets you down because you're doing too much. Okay. Anxiety and overthinking. Sometimes you're thinking so much about what you have to do tomorrow or in the next hour, you don't even get the sleep that you need and the rest you need because your brain never shuts down. Some behavioral patterns are overcommitment, saying yes to everything. Are you a yes ma'am or yes man? Micromanaging. If you have a business and if you work at a business and you're an employee, have you learned how to let go of things and allow your staff to do the work that you paid them for if they're getting paid for? Are you neglecting your health? Have you been to the doctor? Have you been to the dentist? Have you went to, see about having a walk every day or setting some self-time, self-care aside for yourself on a daily basis? Do you consider yourself a workaholic? Right? A hustler. I'm a hustler, baby. I go get it. I'm going to get all the money. No money on the table, right? We're not leaving no money on the table. If that's you, then it may be a problem. Too much of anything is too much. Okay. Avoidance of vulnerability. Are you so consumed with giving out vulnerability or accepting other people's vulnerability and you're not able to output that? Some of the social and relational issues that may come up, do you find yourself isolating a lot? Are you getting invited to places and you're just not going because you're so burnt out because of the other categories? Difficulty trusting people because you feel like you have to do it alone. Strained relationships. Do you have conflict in your family, friends, close relationships? Struggling with authentic communication. Are you able to communicate exactly what you want to and actually do it behaviorally? Okay, because communication is just not verbal. Communication is everything in alignment with what you're saying out of your mouth with what your behaviors are doing. Okay. Symptoms of underlying issues: depression, anxiety, physical symptoms, addictive behaviors, fear of success, over identification with success. Like, do you feel like if you don't do A through Z, you're not successful? Or you're constantly chasing the next high of, oh, I accomplished this, I accomplished that, I accomplished this, but you still are constantly chasing those things when you have, let's just say, the number one product sitting in your face, but you're constantly making 20 other products and you haven't even got that product off the ground. Okay. So far, how many people in the room have checked And Tony, or someone, if someone, Tony, you can let me know if people are chatting in the chat room about it. But if you can unmute your mic, give me if you have more than 5 of these checked. Look at Tammy. Tammy, like, girl, that's me. Don't be looking at my paper.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble because you tagged me a couple of times there, so we'll just leave that to the audience right now.
So we know Tammy checked some boxes. Miss Landon, how many did you check?
I'm sure if I were to go through about 4 or 5.
Okay. What about you, Miss Linda?
Yes, me too.
Me too. You didn't say what number though.
Oh, a lot, because I just work. So neglect of personal relationships, yes. Resentment and exhaustion, yes. Uh, Chronic stress and burn, yes. Yeah, I could probably check about 10 of them.
So overall, can I just get 1 or 2 people to tell me how they felt when I was reading these things and actually explaining what it means? Like what light went off for you, or what frame of mind did it take you to?
Oh, you got me. I'm feeling like I'm pretty jacked up over here. So
Just a little bit, just a little jack.
just a little jacked up. It's okay though, because we go but I know I go to therapy too. So we know we need these things because we are always overachievers trying to do so much in the time that we have and not focusing on like one particular thing because we are trying to get it all. Like you said, we're trying to get everything in the bag. Okay. We're trying to secure it all.
And I love your transparency, and thanks for sharing that with the group. And one of the main reasons why I like to do an interactive activity like this is to show that we're not alone. Everyone on here has at least 2 or more of these things that they have checked. Not saying that you can't do those things or have those feelings, but it's important to know, how can I scale back from having this burden of a feeling to be able to be a better version of myself? And so here's like a little tool. I actually made this up myself. So I created this just to help my clientele that I work with. And it's pretty much to show you where you kind of fall in on the scale. Okay. So if you have about 5 to 8, you're a mild emerging high achiever. So you need to do some interventions, like, so you won't be a severe. Okay. So you're at the bottom, but you slowly approaching if you don't get it together, okay? Number 2, for high achiever, your 9 to 12 category. These individuals are experiencing more burnout, more mental health symptoms like depression, isolation, racing thoughts, unable to sleep, loneliness outside of the things that they're doing on the day-to-day task, okay? Severe high achiever. This is where I resonate most. I am a high achiever, point blank. Was born to be the boss of whatever. I didn't care what I had. I was going to learn how to make some money off of it. And I was going to learn how to get more money off of it and build and scale, right? That was my goal. I was always trying to do something and coming up with some idea and never really stuck with it past the time I got bored. As soon as I got bored, I went on to something else. But I always had something, okay, until I became a therapist and I learned the tools to navigate and be able to still do the things I enjoy, but also manage my own mental health. Okay, so if you're any of these 1, 2, or 3, just put it on your paper because we want to make sure that we decrease these symptoms over time because we got about 7 months left in the year and we can do this. Okay, so the weight of financial stress in our urban communities. Okay, so we all live in California, or we know someone who lives in urban communities, or we were raised in urban communities. So high cost of living plus low wages equals chronically financial anxiety. One thing that I learned about myself while going through therapy myself and also just being in the world is that a lot of my fear came from financial instability. the fear of not having, the fear of something not getting paid. I would get anxious if I didn't pay my mortgage on the 1st. If I waited to the 14th, I would be mad. Like, why am I waiting for something and I have the money in the bank? But I wanted to keep the money in the bank just because I wanted to see the money in the bank. But you know that money got to pay the mortgage regardless, right? So that's kind of what financial anxiety is. The fear of not having, or the fear of not having control. Many live paycheck to paycheck with little room for emergencies. One thing we have to learn is that we always make time and make money for the things that we want, right? And so being a Christian, a tithe payer, I have realized that when, and like I said, I don't know if everyone is faith-based. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if it does, clock it and write it down. So when I started paying my tithes, I used to say, well, I can't afford to pay my tithes for here. But then I went to the club the next week and I was paying the club money to get in, right? I was paying to go to a party. I was helping other people. So we make room and make money for the things we want. So there is a paycheck to paycheck, but you should be able to save something. That means you have to sacrifice for today for tomorrow's blessing. Does that make sense? Financial instability can lead to depression and hopelessness, irritability, family conflict, and sleep issues. It increases in substance use and avoidant behaviors. A lot of time people avoid going places or being around people because the stigma of the world. The world makes it so glamorized that you have to have this, have to have that. And people are doing it for the gram and doing it for all these other things, but they're not doing what makes them happy. And the simplicity, it doesn't mean that you don't financially have it, because wealth is not just financial. Wealth is mental, physical, spiritual, all these different components. So I see clients every day who are not lazy, they're overwhelmed. And being overwhelmed can cause mental fog for financial pressure and keep them stuck. So one of the things that we work on is working on getting our clients unstuck. Cultural pressure and generational mindsets. We always heard the saying generational curses. They're no longer generational curses. They are called generational patterns and behaviors. And behaviors and patterns can be broken. Okay. Curses is okay. But to put it in a mental health perspective, every behavior can change. So my mom is a substance user. She's been an addict almost all my life. And one thing that you can see is that I'm not an addict. I don't want to use or abuse drugs, but I made the choice. So I broke what was called the generational patterns, because I could have easily kept on a routine that I was so familiar with, or whatever behaviors that you see. If it's verbal abuse, it's a physical abuse, it may be emotional abuse. These patterns can be broken, and so can financial instability and financial anxiety can be broken as well. Make it out of the mud mentality, glamorizing grind culture and over self-care, limit financial literacy passed down, right? A lot of people are gatekeepers. We are not teaching our community. We're not teaching our children what financial literacy is, what the dollar amount means, what type of investments you can do. Everything is, I'm getting it for myself, but some people are getting it for themselves and failing to realize that you have to teach these culturally teach our children the patterns to get and maintain and sustain financial stability, which is financial wealth. Some shame and silence about money block mental health conversations. A lot of times we're afraid to be in rooms with certain people because of the financial status. We feel like we don't belong. And honestly, you really cannot tell anyone's paycheck by what they wear these days. Even though social media and society is saying, all these great things about what makes somebody look luxury and materialistic things, does not mean that those individuals are rich. They can be rich in things and items, but poor in assets. So I grew up seeing money as a survival, and a lot of us have. our moms and grandmas was robbing Peter to pay Paul. Some people had to, work multiple jobs to take care of, their siblings or their cousins or whoever was in the home. We can't heal what we won't name. So if we can't identify these things, we have to be able to say, I'm financially unstable because of da 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 da, and list those things out. Especially our relationships with money. When you have a poor relationship with money and you come from poverty or you come from having to work extra hard for it, it's very hard to let go. A closed hand cannot accept anything and then it cannot release anything. Any questions so far or comments?
I definitely hear you. I identify with that extremely well because the way that I came up, we didn't even know we were poor until I went to school in the Valley, and that's when I saw the contrast. And then once that happened, it really did change the whole dynamic of how I was growing up. When you're around everyone else and everyone else is in the same situation, you don't really feel it. But then I go to school and I start feeling the pressure. I don't have the right shoes. I don't have the right jacket. I don't have the right clothes. I don't have enough money to go grab lunch off campus and do all the other things that everyone else does. It did impact me quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. Reagan?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Janisha, I love what you said about the way you said generational patterns. It's no longer generational curses, it's generational patterns. I love that. My daughter is a licensed clinical social worker too, and I hear her saying, things to her clients. But no, I love that. I love that because it's like you think of a curses can't be broken, but we know that patterns can be changed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a hope giving statement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I love that too, because a lot of times you hear things and you're like, oh, curses. Well, what does curse mean? And like you said, that's not something that you could just say, okay, it's off of me. No, no, but you can change a pattern.
Right, because TV will tell you a curse is a curse is a curse. And it's there for generation after generation after generation.
Exactly. The things that I can say is that my daughter is a second-year college student in Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She graduated with a credit score of 725, 750. She knows about investments to like the bare minimum, but she also knows about how to pay credit cards. She knows about interest rates. She knows about things that if I was to leave today, that she can financially be able to say, here is how I'm going to operate my mom's business. And I don't even have to operate it, but I know how to move money and I know how to get money through my business accounts, but and save my own personal finances.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows the basics to be able to grow and learn more off of that. Okay. And that's the goal for all of our children, to know the bare minimum. Even if we're not leaving them anything, the knowledge that we have as a culture will surpass our generation, their generation, and their generation. And that is what is called breaking generational patterns and behaviors.
And you call it the bare minimum. It's like that's the easy part to grasp.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like at an early age, my son is 13. He plays chess. He should have been playing chess at 4 years old, because chess teaches you strategies and it teaches you certain things. So it's just small things that even if you don't follow through with it and continue playing these things with the kids, they will be able to say, my mom taught me about credit score. She taught me about, making a bank account and other ways to put your money in savings. You can get an investor. You have all these different entities. And then when they get older, they get to choose. So now she's looking at credit cards like, nah, I'd rather use my American Express than apply for this one because so she's making strategy moves that I never made when I was younger, but I learned how to financially manage money by my grandmother. She was very frugal. I didn't know we was broke either. I said, take me to Payless. Give me 5 pair of shoes. My brother like, oh, take me to Nike. I want the Jordans. I said, you take that one, I'll take this 5. So I got to see both sides of it.
Right, right. No,
So
it's great information.
I'm right
Mhm.
there with you because my son, he's into those $800 pair of shoes, right? And it's like I'd rather have a larger wardrobe, even if it's small. At least I have something clean to wear every day, as opposed to one good outfit on Sunday, and then the rest of the week I look like, well, you know what I look like, garbage.
Well, what I do with my kids is I say, I make this much an hour. This is how much you make an hour, which is nothing. How long is it gonna take me to buy that pair of shoes? And are you willing to do 18 to 34 hours to get those shoes, picking up the dog poop, right? Going mowing the lawn? Put it to perspective. How long would it take you? And is the risk worth the reward? Okay, so that's something any kid can learn from ages 3 and up. It took me 5 hours to get that pair of shoes you got on. It's gonna take you 30 because you only get $2 a chore.
$2 a chore.
Perspective.
That's right.
You
That's right.
know. My daughter, I tell her all the time, and that's why she only calls for certain things because she like tuition, getting paid in cash. We don't get no financial aid. So perspective. My mom had to work 2 months to pay my tuition.
That's real. That's real right there.
Yeah. So for 2 months, I just worked just for you, honey, to go to school, and I got to do that how many times before you graduate? Perspective. So healing both pockets and minds starts with your own mindset and being okay to say, we're not broke. We just don't have the money for that. That's not in my budget. That ain't in your budget because you ain't got no job. Or do you want to work for it? Let's come up with a job for you. Yes, Pastor.
Yeah, I think one of the things is being able to instill in your children their real value. You had said something that's very important about if you're faith-based. Like for me, I don't base my value on the clothes I wear, the money I have in the bank, but I based on it from my faith base. Number one, God created human beings in his own image and his own likeness, which that means that I'm pretty important if he created me in his image and in his likeness. And then also the 139 Psalms where God expresses that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And so being able to instill that in your children of where their real value comes from and who actually sets the value. It's not your clothes, it's not society and things of that nature. Being able to teach them in that way. And then also you loving them and making sure, letting them know their value and continue to affirm them helps a great deal.
Absolutely. I agree. Miss Tammy?
I just want to share a quick story. I married young and divorced young. And so my daughter, when she was in high school, she took, I think it was during one of her math classes, and they taught them how to fill out a checkbook and that sort of thing. And so she came home and she said to me, Mom, if you turn your budget over, or she said, if you would turn everything over to me, I could show you how to be on a budget and you wouldn't be broke all the time. And of course, at that moment, it took everything within me not to knock her into the next week. But I calmed down, and the next day at work, I created a worksheet. And I broke down the money that was coming in and the bills that had to be paid. And so when I went home, I shared it with her, and she stood there for the longest looking at this spreadsheet. And finally she said to me, she goes, but you didn't even include the dues from, she was on the crew team at the time, and she loved it. She goes, but you didn't include the dues and you didn't include the money when I go on these trips to these races, and I said, no, but you go ahead and put me on a budget. And so what she learned and what I learned is a lot of times we're trying to protect our kids, because at the time I felt like, you know what, we're struggling. She doesn't need to know that we're struggling. She's a kid. So I'll take on that burden. She doesn't need to know. But what I learned was after that, she stopped coming to me asking for things that she didn't need. She just wanted because everybody else had it. So it kind of opened her mind to the fact that, oh, mom's not saying no because she's mean and she just doesn't want me to have things. She's not making me earn the things that I want just because she's mean, And so it opened her eyes to reality, and it also took some of the burden off me, because instead of saying no and have to break it down and explain every little now she knows. Now she knows the importance of when you earn something, you value it more. When you know, the difference between what you want and what you need. So that was an eye opener for both of us. So I think part of the problem is, like I said, we try to protect our kids for some things, but I think sometimes we do more harm than good when we don't share with them to some degree what the responsibilities behind finances and being prepared.
And I think one of the key things that you said is knowing how much to share and how much not to share. And that's why it's important to have a family or a support system in place for when you don't know like how to address financial stressors with your children. I married very young too, and I'm currently going through a divorce. So explaining separation and finances of we used to be doing these things, but now we have to scale back. It's a proper way to address these things with your children so that they won't have that emotional stressor from why mommy and daddy can't do it, or why they're learning how to adjust separately. So I think one of the things you did say that we all can take away is it's always a way to share without oversharing with your children. We don't want to put emotional turmoil on them because kids' problems are not adult problems. Felicia?
Hi, I just wanted to find out, because I learned from my grandmother how to manage money and, have the 6 months overflow income for when things do happen. But unfortunately, about 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that made me off work for a extended period of time, right? Um, I did share with my son at that time what was going on and the things that needed to change. And it was like 2 years before he graduated. And so he started doing things at his school, and people would come to me and ask me, is it okay if he does this? Without even sharing what was going on in the house, right? So now he can afford to do things, or he's very good with managing his money. When he buys things that are overpriced, it's because he plans to buy those things. And so, even now, I'm off work, and he's basically helping me to still maintain everything. And I feel like at this point, me sharing things that were going on, or him seeing what was going on and him stepping up, I think when they're children and you explain those things, like Miss Tammy said, they have a better understanding of how to manage their money and plan for the things that they want so that it's not a burden. And pretty much I shared everything with him because at that time he needed to know because we both were being stressed from different other aspects of life.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, you guys. You guys are definitely bringing value into the room, and people are learning not only from me, but from your experiences as well. So healing both the
Miss Janisha, I got a couple of raised hands here. I have Miss Tammy Moore who has a question.
I'm sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, I'll take care of that for you.
Oh, it's gone now. Anybody else? So solutions and encouragement. One thing that we can say, we can talk about the problems all day long. I get my friends 3 times to talk to me about a problem. If you don't got no solutions, stop talking to me about it. Then it turns into, do you want a solution or you just want me to listen to you? You feed into your delusional self. Are you ready for change? My clients are more sensitive. I'm gonna give you 4 days. We still gonna talk about the problem? Or are we gonna come up with the solutions and start activating? You know, not saying that everything is overnight and things are gonna happen like this and like that, but we talk so much about a problem that you are creating a bigger problem. And so normalize therapy and financial coaching side by side. And I'm not saying that you have to financially pay for a coach, and I'm not saying you have to financially pay for a therapist. What I do say is that you need to utilize resources and normalize that it is okay to delegate your stressors. I used to hate numbers. I even went to the disability office when I was in college because I cannot stand numbers and I was afraid. And I said, I can't take this test. I don't know how to take this class. But when I learned that I can delegate and hire or get help from the resources to help me pass the classes, now I have a biller, I have an accountant. I don't even have to deal with the numbers myself really anymore, right? I knew the bare minimum, the basics, and then I hired somebody else to do it. So when I say normalize therapy and financial coaching side by side, you need a therapist and a financial coach at the same time, because one is going to stress you out. Your therapist is going to be challenging you, and your financial situation may be a little stressful. So you need somebody to kind of, I don't believe in balance. I believe in harmony, because nothing is equal. Okay, unless it has to do with money. And sometimes that could be a little iffy too. So I believe in finding the harmony within financial coaching and therapy. Stop gatekeeping, especially with our families. Now, other people, you could say, all right, I charge this much for this. That's fine. It's okay to charge, but you should not gatekeep. Gatekeeping means that you're keeping information solely for yourself. And if you have something and you know people want it, make it a digital product. So you ain't got to teach it but one time and sell it to somebody. Oh, you want to see how I did my system? All right, I have an ebook on sale for $29.99. The whole step is there. There you go. Go buy it. If you really want it, buy it. Invest in yourself and vice versa. If you want to learn something and you don't have the time to learn it yourself, pay somebody to teach you. Pay for that master course. Pay for that, or go to that free online course. Go to that library that they have every once a month, and they have free resources and courses. Go to those things so that you can learn it for free. Learning budgeting, credit repair, and wealth building as a self-care entity in your life is important. Community empowerment through education and resources. These are all solutions to our financial stressors and patterns and behaviors, which all affect our mental health. Your mental health matters as much as your hustle. Let's rewrite the story. We're not just surviving anymore. We're securing peace and prosperity. So peace comes in a lot of different ways. You hear about all these people with all this money and they're still unhappy. They're still not peaceful. You find peace when you have systems and you have a routine and you know that, oh, if I walk away from my business for 6 months, it's already covered and I'm still making money. That's peace. Financial freedom is peace. Not saying that you're wealthy in dollar, but you're able to do the things that you want within your means and not have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 books that I really enjoyed reading through my growing process of self-help is Die with Zero. And I'll give you a synopsis of what it is. And the privilege of having a coach or a therapist, you don't even got to read the book. I'm giving you the cliff notes. Die with Zero is pretty much saying that you keep enough money to live and survive. And so the goal is not to die with financial liquid funds, but to die with no money, and whatever you leave for your legacy, those are assets and stocks and all those other things. But the goal is for you not to leave any cash on the ground, because you are supposed to live now. And so living means, like, my grandmother is 86 years old. The things she could do at 30, she can't do or don't want to do at 86. So the money she had back then, I used to say, Granny, just spend it. If that's what you want to do it now. Because you're not gonna want to go sky jumping when you're 86 years old. But you wanted to go when you were 40. And that was possible back then. But now the risk is not worth the reward. So you have to do the things that you want, plan financially, and make sure that you're, on one accord with what your visions and morals and responsibilities are. But that's pretty much what Die with Zero is about. The year of yes was something that was more personal and intimate. Was the year that I decided to say yes to my children a lot more. I did the whole year. Anytime my son came in and said, hey, Mom, let's play superheroes, I would stop doing what I was doing and I would play superheroes, even if it was for 5 minutes, because your family and the people around you, you can't replace that. Time is not replaced. Okay, so those are my 2 gems for books for you guys today. So how much time do I have, Tony?
You're good on time. We still got another 16 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure. So hustler, CEO, and stockholder. Do we know the difference? Is there a difference? I'm
gonna say yes.
Yes, there is a difference. So the difference is mindset in urgency, right? Hustler. So my dad was a drug dealer when all my life, and I didn't find out until I was probably in college or high school. I was grown when I found out he was a drug dealer. He was a hustler. So I automatically had those traits to go from selling Cutco to go selling Mary Kay. Like whatever product I was able to get my hands on, I was able to naturally sell because of my personality and the connections that I had. So I never failed in a business that I started because I looked at the risk. So I was a hustler. I would switch products out and just keep switching it. But guess what? I never had anything long-term financially. I didn't have any investments. Then you switch over to CEO. CEO is like you own your own business, you have staff under you, but you still got to come to work sometimes. But you can take about 6 months off and let it run for itself. A stockholder, you ain't even got to be there. I just show up and get my check. I just go to the bank. A stockholder has no responsibility to be physically active in whatever business it's in, okay? So the hustler is trauma infused most of the time. Service object equals a bill. Oh, I'm gonna see this client because I need to pay my car note today. Right? Or I'm gonna have this workshop today because I need to play Joe to go fix my plumbing tomorrow. You have increased anxiety. You're overworking and neglecting yourself. You have strategy burnout and exhaustions. You lack of work-life balance, burning bridges and ethical compromises, chasing quick money versus long-term growth. Emotional roller coaster. Your emotions are everywhere. You're cussing people out. You're irritated. You're agitated. You're frustrated. You're sad. You're anxious, neglecting the bigger picture. So you're thinking in the second and in the moment, but you're not thinking for tomorrow. Okay, so that's like, okay, I'm going to get a hotel for a month, as opposed to saying, okay, let me see who I can stay with for a month, pay half of what I will be paying for a hotel, and then pay the half to the person I'm staying with who may need the help too. And that other half I can save to get a down payment on my own apartment, long term. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So then we're going to go to CEO plus grow. This is where you finally get tired of being the hustler. You still the hustler though, because it's a part of you. Because I still got it in me. I just know how to manage those symptoms. And I know how to set boundaries, okay? CEOs are vision and strategist thinkers. We come up with so many things and we know how to execute them. Personal development is key. We are very resourceful and innovative. We have a good sense of networking and building relationships. We're going to start having resilience and persistence now, right? You're resilient in what you're doing by not having to feel like you have to do it every day to make this one thing work. You have an entrepreneur mindset and you're risk-taking, but you're only risk-taking if it makes sense for the what? Bigger picture. Your work ethic and you're disciplined more because you're not necessarily being like an octopus and having your hands in everything, right? You have other people to do those things for you. You start selling and negotiating your skills. You're trying to figure out where your price point is. You're trying to figure out how much you're willing to take and what your worth is when you're going to these job interviews or whatnot. Adaptability and flexibility. You have more time to do what you want to do. Like I was able to do this and not have to go see clients or go to work because I have flexibility with my time. Okay. Stockholder. This is, I feel like, the ultimate goal for individuals who are just not wanting to work at all. That's not me. I could be a stockholder, but I'm still going to be a CEO, right? So a stockholder, in a sense, for individuals who still want to be have a company and be an entrepreneur and have a big business. I don't believe in small businesses because we're all big businesses. So our businesses is to scale. So scale means this key thing: less time, more money. Did y'all catch that? I'm spending
Yes, ma'am.
time, but I'm making more money. And so let me add some context to that. So I started off as a solo practice. A solo practice is just me working for myself, seeing as many clients as I can. I said, that don't work for me. I need to grow and scale. No, I said I need to grow. So I hired one clinician. And I'm like, well, this ain't working either because I'm still seeing 80 plus clients every 2 weeks. I don't want to do that. So I said, how do I scale? Scaling, I have 9 clinicians now. That means I only see the clients I want to see now. That's scale. That means that I'm doing less work, but still making more money. Got it? So our goal is to, in everything we do, is to spend less time, but still have the same value or more. Okay? That's even with cooking and all that other stuff. How can I save time in the kitchen, but still have a heart-filled meal with substance? Have them kids cut up them vegetables. Have that slow cooker on while you at work. Delegation. See, Tammy and Jennifer, y'all feeling me because y'all like, oh, I didn't get to dinner yet. So one of the things is financial rewards and investment returns to self-care. It reduces stress and responsibilities. It focuses on long-term growth and strategies. It increases time for personal interests, things that you actually like doing. Because we know people who actually like to work. You might enjoy what you do for work. Like I love being a therapist, but not all my clients are enjoyable, right? I enjoy the healing process at the end, but it's painful to see them in pain because I'm an empath. I feel everything. So having the time to be able to have that self-care is important. Okay. You increase time for personal interest, opportunities for passive income. Passive income is something that is out on the market that just sells on its own. You don't have to do anything. Hence why I said digital products, right? This PowerPoint, this presentation right now, if we wanted to, we can say, go buy this masterclass for $24.99 and just put it on our website. And guess what? Whether people go to it or not, it's already done. So passive income is going to come because somebody want to hear this information. Now, Tony, don't be going to get rich off me today, okay?
This is all you, Mrs. Mickens, all you.
So the ability to take on new leadership roles, right? So for instance, a pastor say, hey, I want you to come be a minister in training. I'm like, okay, pastor, I'm ready. Because I got the time, you know, and if that's what I want to do, I have the availability and the capacity to choose to do something like that. Your influence on corporate governance, right? So at my job, once I became licensed and I had my own business and I wasn't being cocky, but I was being honest, you can't tell me nothing. This is an option for me. I will walk away and I will be okay, right? You make things optional when you have financial freedom and the tools to scale your business past what you already have done. Okay. And then individuals on the corporate level will start listening to you because for some reason, the people at the bottom never heard, but they have all the great ideas that make the companies work. It's so backwards to me. But now that I'm at that level in corporate America, guess who mouth they hear? Mine, because I'm advocating for the people who could not advocate. Okay, so that's another reason why you want to start switching your mindset. Time and reflection and personal growth. You get to read a book when you want to. You can go to a conference if you want to. You're going to make time to do the things you want to do to grow personally. And you're going to come up with an extra strategy and wealth realization. You have that exit strategy from when you were a hustler. You just learned how to execute it through the CEO and the stock and to become the stockholder. So everyone have seen 688, hopefully, because it was a great movie, right?
Absolutely.
It was a great movie. So it's all about coming in with a system that was blurred, right? They presented it as one way, but when they got there, they saw it was another way. And so when we talk about creative systems, and if you watch the movie, you know that eventually the leader became the student, and the student became the leader. Because they had to tell her, no, I know this perfume came from this city or this state, and this material comes only from this location. So they all work together, and the leaders start collaborating, and they mastermind to tackle one goal, which was to get the people the mail. Okay, so a small is specific. The coach was also open to be coached. So as a therapist, I have a therapist. As a mom, I talk to other moms. As a minister at my church, I talk to God. I talk to my pastor. You know, these are people that you need to have around you, whatever entity that you are in. You need to be coachable. If you're not coachable, then you just gonna stay in hustler mode. Okay, measurable. You should be able to measure based on data. If I see 80 clients today, but if I hire 3 staff that can see 40 clients each, how much more money would I make and how much time am I saving myself? That's measurable. And we don't even have to do the math on that. You could just feel it. Okay? Is it achievable? Is this actually realistic? And now we can have the mustard seed of faith. Yes, absolutely. Anything is possible. But God also say, make it plain and clear. It just ain't gonna just pop up, right? You have to do the work too. Is it relevant? You know, it's just something that's going to help your business grow. Time-based, faster turnaround due to systems in place. If you have systems in place, you're going to get to your ultimate goal a lot faster. Separation, delegation equals elevation. Sometimes you have to Someone.
Before we move forward, I had a question about that last segment. Pastor Bowie wanted to have a question for you.
Oh, which one you're talking? I was actually talking about this CEO, the hustler, and the and the stocks, and because there's a lot more to it. One of the things that you did get to in the SMART is the importance of understanding you succeed with a team. I think one of the challenges that one of the big myths is that we're given the mindset that, it's all about the individual. I did it all myself. But really, if you're going to be most effective, and that's where the CEO comes in, but also that's a process. Because as a hustler, I don't even know what a CEO is most of the time. We're in these different mindsets. But if you're able to get to the CEO position, there's also other skills that you have. But the truth of the matter, our success, whether we like it or not, is based on our ability to collaborate and to work with others and getting the resources and getting the talents in there to help you achieve your goals as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Pastor.
You're welcome.
Yes, I appreciate that as well.
So separation, delegation, elevation. A lot of times we don't learn until it's too late to separate ourselves from other people or other things that don't align with us. Okay. So I always tell my clients who are substance abuse users, all right, you hang around all the crackheads, you're gonna be the fourth crackhead, or you're gonna stay on crack. I hope that last hit is your best hit, right? Make it your best one. Because if you don't separate yourself from other people, then you're not going to be able to get the things and fulfill the things that you want in life. So when I mean by separation, you have to separate yourself from tasks that don't align with you. Even if you love doing it, you still need to learn, how to do it, but you can learn to delegate it out. So specialization of roles, you need to know what those are. Focusing on long-term goals, flexibility and ownership and investments, increase efficiency and productivity, empowerment and team development, and Pastor just talked about it. Without a team, you're going to be working extra hard, okay? A house is not built by one person, and if it is, it's going to take triple the amount of time if it's built by 3 or 4, okay? Improve decision-making, better time management, financial stressors, time management, scalability and growth, increased flexibility, and that was it. So scale and time. We're not gonna. So setting boundaries are very important. So if you clarify your priorities and delegate effectively, you'll be able to implement the things that you want in your life. Okay. So clarifying your priorities is most important. Define your core responsibilities. As a CEO, align with personal goals, schedule focused time, set times for limits for meetings. Don't set up these meetings that can be an email. If you are an employer and you are hiring people and you have people under you, stop having meetings that can be an email. It's no need to micromanage individuals. If you have to micromanage them, fire those individuals and find somebody who can do the job. Okay, so that means you need to set expectations with your teams or with your household. So whatever is in your household, that's a business too, right? You have to set the business. The husband shouldn't be doing everything. The wife shouldn't do all things. The kids shouldn't do all things. We should be doing things together to make the system work. Delegate effectively, set work hours, turn off notifications, say no strategically, know your limits, be direct but respectful, outsource personal responsibilities, get a housekeeper. I'm telling y'all to do that. It's so nice. Get somebody to come clean your house, fold your clothes, something, have your kids fold the clothes or something, right? Schedule offline time, avoid overcommitting, build a trusted team, leverage mentorship, like get involved and reflect and adapt to all these changes. And these are just things that you can delegate if you're in a business, if you guys want to take a picture of it, or I can go back later after. But these are just align your body and mental health to get yourself together. These are the things that are usually targeted when we're under hustle mode. You know, we have lack of our finances is low, our mental health is low, everything is low because we're doing too much. And these are just the happy therapist methods. This shows my numbers and data. I'm very transparent when it comes to telling people like the system works if you use it. So this is where I started off in 2023 and my numbers increased in 2024. So you can see the quarters and stuff like that. So with systems in place, it not only helped me in my business, but also helped me in my personal life as well. And so overall, I increased my business in 1 year, 36.47%. Most jobs only offer a 3% raise. Okay. If someone decides to leave their W-2 job, there's no limit of how much income you can grow. And you can still have your job and do this too, because I'm doing it. You just need to know how you can do it and if it's realistic. Okay. The Happy Therapist income has increased over 1,000%, way more than what a W-2 job could provide it in the same time. Before we consider taxes and other smaller operating expenses, you must also, you almost made as much revenue this year. This is my my numbers girl who sent me these notes. This is what she was telling me. So I didn't do this data. She sent it to me. And she told me pretty much I made as much net revenue this year as Happy Therapist did over in 2023. So she just broke down my numbers for me. So who don't want to grow 36.47%? My job 3% last year. 3%. And so this is my contact information. If you guys are interested in therapy, workshops, I also do other presentations and break things down more in retrospect to many topics. But this is how you can reach me. And thank you guys for having me. Any questions?
That was absolutely phenomenal. So you were kind of all over me on that presentation. So I just want you to know that, I'm glad I still got some backside left because I feel like you just chewed my butt right off on that. But, I'm really into catchphrases and quotes. And I think, my favorite one is don't set up a meeting that can be an email. That right there is so spot on. It's all over me right now. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. And I also like what your comments about delegating and making sure you set your priorities because, everything, you've heard of the urgency/important table. Like, is it urgent, not urgent, important, not urgent, that little diagram. I use that a lot because it might be urgent, but is it important enough for me to actually do it? No. Or it might be important, but it might not be that important, but it is urgent, right? So depending on how that works, I use that a lot, but just putting it simply, excuse me, don't set up a meeting that you can make an email. Excuse me, I need to get something to drink. Take over, Pastor Josie. Excuse me for that. I had to clear my throat on that one.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing. It was great information. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can identify, I can see myself on many, many levels. And I thank the Lord that I'm working towards that good old stockholder position.
And yes, ma'am.
Yes, I've been all those roles. So it's really good. And Tony says I'm a workaholic, but it's all good. I'm strategic
She is
in
a
my planning.
workaholic. She's absolutely a workaholic. That's why I told her to take over just now. If anybody on this call needs to learn to delegate, is this young lady right here, Pastor Josie, Miss Mickens. She's a lot like you. She's like, she got 11 jobs, right? And she's not a micromanager, by no stretch of the imagination, but she is someone that cares about everything that she does. So she'll be up messaging me. She's in North Carolina, and I'll get a message from her at 11:37. I'm like, wait a minute, it's almost it's after 2:30 a.m. your time, and she's just now winding down because she's still working on some stuff. And then I'll get a message from her at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is 7 a.m. her time, the same night.
Absolutely.
So I'm like,
Somebody has to keep you on your toes.
Somebody, you know what? I appreciate that, Pastor Joe. And so before I ask this next question, I wanted to highlight a few people that were on tonight because Mrs. Mickens, I really wanted people to appreciate the conversation tonight because everybody that's on this call right now, including some of the people that had to jump off a little bit earlier, they all are in charge of groups or they have a flock. We've had like 4 or 5 pastors on this call. I want to make sure I give a shout out to Pastor Bowie because he's been fantastic as we've been working together over the past few weeks. Pastor Josie, I've known her for almost 20 years. She's, like I said, she's a super workaholic. We got Pastor Larry Houston on, and he's doing a lot of great things in the industry right now. Dr. Felicia, she had to jump off. Reverend Dr. Felicia, she had to jump off, but she's doing a lot of great things in the community. We have Dr. Fran that's on here as well. But we also have other people who may not be doctors or pastors, but they're also community professionals that do a lot in the community. Ms. Christina Faulkner, Jennifer Blannon. I don't know Denise, she's one of our guests, and Tanisha as well as a guest as well. But, we have a young person like Alvin Wade that's on the call right now. So a lot of these people can really appreciate the information that you've been sharing because of the number of people that they come in contact with who kind of pull against their time on a day-to-day basis, right? We have young ladies like Tammy Moore who, it's like she has this rebirth of all this new knowledge that's coming into her life. And I've actually seen a change in the few months that I've known her with the information that's been shared. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here. And I promise I won't get rich off of this. This is literally for the community, for them to be able to take advantage of it so that they can be able to learn a little bit more, to be able to make that 36.47% increase net income.
Absolutely. And, this is one of the things that I do. I go into corporate America and I fix systems and help those CEOs be able to be stockholders, to be able to walk away and not having to have those issues in place. So businesses, churches, systems are systems. You just duplicate them and move them to the other way. So I'm if you know Olivia Pope, I'm the Olivia Pope for systems.
All right now.
I love it. I love it. So does anyone have any questions before we get out of here?
I think it was great information.
Comment?
Great information.
Yes,
and I think you did say you had 2 books. Is that correct?
So I have a few books out. I have a total of 7. 2 are for children that's getting ready to get published on financial literacy and mental health. Just becoming a boss at a young age, and 1 is just extremely for mental health. But I have they're all on Amazon under Janisha Mickens. So I have Their Fire Ain't Your Fire, teaches about boundaries, and I have entrepreneur books as well.
Okay, well, I'll definitely check them out. I have grandchildren, and Sunday I think we had probably about 25 kids. And a lot of mine were in the church, and they were, somewhat family related or indirectly. And I did talk to them and mention to them about how I wish I had this kind of information when I was 11 years old, making $180 a week at 11 and giving my mom half. But I didn't know anything about saving, didn't know anything about bank account or whatever. But I did buy all of my school clothes from the time I was 11 till adulthood. My mother never bought my school clothes again. And I'm not a workaholic. I do work a lot, but I'm very into planning because I am married and I am a real estate investor. I am a pastor. I am a gospel recording artist. And we just left 2 real estate properties and we're just getting home. But I told my husband, so we listened all the way home to Greenville on a 40-minute ride. He listened to you as well.
You wear a lot of hats.
Yes, I do. But I didn't go, and I have a salon, and I didn't go in my salon today, nor am I going in there tomorrow, Tony, because tomorrow he and I are resting.
Yes, ma'am.
We are resting. So balance is the key. But I definitely will get the books because I want to share it with a lot of other young people and be able to, maybe us can have a discussion because I want to teach them earlier the things that I didn't learn, and I want them to learn earlier.
So the kids' books will be in sometime next week. It's still in the last editing phase, but they will be on Amazon next week.
Oh, that's soon enough. That's perfect. Perfect. Congratulations to you and to all the other people that's on the line, the great bosses and sisters and brothers that are connected. And I'm so glad to be a part of such powerful women. I love iron sharpening iron. And so that's what we're here to do, to sharpen each other so that we can all be better and more effective in what we all do. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you guys' time. You guys have an amazing day on purpose. I think somebody else had their hand up.
Yeah, Tammy Moore has a quick question.
Yeah, my question is, I have a couple of nieces and nephews. They're young, and of course they are experiencing that generational pattern, and so I see them struggling. But because I'm part of the older generation, there's typically the sense of they're older, they don't understand. What would you recommend, or is there a way you would suggest that, I mean, whether it's books, your books, or the books that you referred to earlier, how do I reach out to them without coming across as, you know, I'm the older generation, you should listen to me, kind of? Because when you start talking to them, oftentimes when you start talking to them about money, the mindset is, first of all, they don't have the education, the financial education, or the encouragement and support that we're getting here. So I'm trying to, I would like to, if you could help me come up with a way, or if you have suggestions that I can reach out to them without coming across as, you know, with the stick, listen to me, or is there a way to reach them that might excite them or encourage them to invest or take the time to look into this? Because even for me, I'm learning a lot now that was never taught to me, because the people that were in my circle and, you know, that raised me or whatever the situation was, they didn't have the information. So I don't want to see these young people continue to struggle. So do you have recommendations or suggestions or ways or tactics, or, you know, besides prayer? I mean, prayer is good. I do that on the regular, but I'd like to be able to get through to them and encourage them to
So
look.
you're not by yourself, right? It's not just you. You have a community. You have other family members. So maybe it's something like, hey, we're going to have a game night, but then you're going to present something like financial first. Like, we're going to do a team building activity, get to know each other, or, you know, have fun, but then we're going to talk about financial investments, or find one investment. You have to find avenues, or maybe finding a workshop for them to go to as a family or as a youth.
They're on the other side of the country, so.
So videos like, hey, I found this TikTok about financial literacy, send it to them. They love TikTok. And guess what? It's going to be part of their algorithm. So I feel like you have to figure out meeting. So I know in the Bible, it talks about the, God has never changed. God stays the same, but the generation has changed. So you have to change with the generation. Not saying that you have to convert into the worldly things, but Kids don't sit down for an hour for this. They're not gonna sit down for an hour, but they'll sit down for 30 seconds and watch a TikTok that talk about making money, looking luxury. So you just have to find the right entities to be able to be relatable. You know, so my kids are, one kid is a book nerd, and then the other one, she likes to be outside. So they learn differently. You know, so chess is something my son loved to do. So I'm teaching him life skills through chess. I'm teaching him about the Bible through chess. God uses us as a pawn sometimes because the pawn can be promoted to a king, and the queen protects. So the people around us are congregation. So we're protecting the pastor because a lot of people are. So many ways you can implement through strategies. So I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's great.
I'm like, that wasn't accurate.
Well, I think it's fantastic. You know, again, everybody, I appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. We're a little bit over. We're about 18 minutes over time, but I think it was definitely worth the time. Do me a favor, Miss Mickens Ingram, if you can go ahead and put your contact information up one more time before we get out of here. So igniting resiliency and perseverance therapy is a vibe. If you want to reach out to her, check out her website. Please take the information that's on the screen right now. I think that this conversation is one that's very poignant, and we should continue to have it. You know, many of us are, as I stated earlier, are leaders of groups and various organizations. We have businesses and whatnot, and there are stressors that are involved in, you know, going from that hustler to that CEO to that stockholder. And, you know, since we're all stockholders in our lives, we have to be active in everything that we do, and we have to be purposeful in everything that we do. So again, I appreciate Mrs. Mickens Ingram for joining us today and being a special guest speaker and very thorough with her information. And I really appreciate all the questions that everyone had. We had a few people jump on late, Miss Tanisha, Mr. Wade. I think I saw one more, Miss Denise. So this presentation was recorded. So make sure you reach out to the person that invited you to this call and request the link to be able to watch the presentation in its entirety. And of course, if you have any questions for our happy therapist, make sure you grab the information that's on the screen right now, and feel free to contact her directly, or whomever she, what's the word I'm looking for, delegates to be able to handle your contact information. So if no one has any additional questions, I thank all of you for being on tonight, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. I'm going to be talking about the infinite banking system next week. So it's going to be a really, really wonderful educational program for you all. So again, thank you all so much, and God bless to you all.
Hey, Tony.
Thank you.
Tony.
Pastor Bowie, yes, sir.
Yeah. What's a good time to call you tonight?
In about 40 minutes, because I got to do another training call with my agents real quick.
All right, no problem. Okay, I'll give you an hour.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Miss is that Janisha? Janisha. All right. A great presentation. I enjoyed you. I love your energy. I love your knowledge. I can see you're a real go-getter.
Thank you, Pastor. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And young. That's that. No, that's important. Time. See, we didn't talk about that, but time is a very important factor, you know, in our success. Earlier you get started, know where you're going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yes. Tony, can you send me the video when you finish, please?
Okay, give me a second. Let me close this out real quick. Stop recording.
Yeah, you don't have to send it today. Just remember.
Oh no, you're gonna get it. It's too large. The recording is too large to send. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add you to my Google Drive, and you'll be able to download it directly to your laptop.
Okay.